Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls out there, any of you fans of Star Trek or any of the other Paramount franchises that they own out there, well, you know that things have been kind of a disastrous dumpster fire for the last few years. Paramount hasn't done very good. They've actually destroyed and absolutely devastated the Star Trek franchise in any way, shape, or form that they could, giving us one disastrous dumpster fire after another with a bunch of shows that simply don't understand what made the original so charming and wonderful and such a big hit with the fans. Also, of course, they were pushing a lot of the agenda nonsense, which is color shock there. It's just another day ending in Y when it comes to Hollywood and a lot of these major studios out there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it looks like there might actually be coming a little bit of due coming to all of that, because Paramount CEO, according to some reports that have been coming out from the mainstream out there, and we won't actually know until later this afternoon, so by the time you're watching this video, he might already officially be out. But as of right now, it looks like that the Paramount CEO, Bob Bakish, is being fired, as the earnings call is going to go down later this afternoon. Of course, at the time I'm recording this, but probably has already happened. So we're just going to assume that Bob is out at this point, because it makes complete and total sense. Now, why would you want to say that something like this has happened? Obviously, Paramount's growth has been extremely slow over the last few years. Most of their series on their streaming platforms and out there on broadcast television have failed miserably, either in the ratings or in garnering trying to bring subscription service. Now, there has been a few bright spots on Paramount Plus out over there over the years. Obviously, one of the big ones that I've heard a lot of good things about was the Twisted Metals adaptation, video game adaptation. I heard really good things about that. I've heard a lot of people tell me it was good, but there hasn't been enough stuff on there for me to justify Paramount the $10 a month to be able to go out there and just watch a lot of that kind of stuff. It's just not something I'm going to go out of my way to do. Star Trek Picard Season 3, obviously, was a lot of the fans absolutely loved it. I enjoyed what I saw of it, and a lot of people out there absolutely hot. It was a great thing, and I actually thought there might be some hope for the future of Star Trek. But of course, that didn't pan out very well, and now looks like the bill is finally coming due, because, boys and girls, the board of directors over there at Paramount is saying that CE Bob Bakish has got to go. And at the end of the day, the buck starts with the guy in charge. So if everything below you is failing apart miserably, it is still your fault, because clearly you didn't have the oversight to take care of things and make the customers, i.e. the fans, happy. And now you're going to deal with the consequences of it. So we're going to share this article. Shout out to Valiant Renegade over there at That Park Place. Go subscribe to Valiant Renegade if you haven't. Follow him on all of his social medias. He's a great guy, a lot of great insight. He's a financial whiz with all of this kind of stuff. He does a lot of great work out there. So definitely go check out his stuff, because he's going to have a field day with this. I promise you that, ladies and gentlemen. And if you haven't already, make sure you come over here, hit that like button, share it with all your friends, subscribe and or follow depending on the platform you're on, and leave a comment down below. Paramount CEO Bob Bakish fired. Earnings call crisis today. Paramount Global, Para, with a roughly $8.69 billion market capitalization, opened trading this morning up significantly around 6%. On the weekend, breaking news that CEO Bob Bakish could be fired from the company as early as today, Monday, April 29th, 2024, ahead of the earnings call this afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Bakish was named CEO in October of 2016. So needless to say, he's been there for a while. So he's the one that allowed a lot of this new Trek stuff, this Neo Trek stuff to happen. He's the one that hired a lot of these people. He's the one that signed off on people like Terry Matalas and the Kirkman Trek. Terry Matalas is actually the one that gave us a really good Picard Season 3. But the whole Kirkman Trek thing, Bakish is the guy responsible for Kirkman even existing and doing what he's done to Trek. Okay? So just think about that for a second. So maybe take a little happy dance. I'm not saying anything's going to get any better. Definitely not saying that, because we don't trust modern Hollywood in any way, shape, or form. But at least someone's finally getting punished for the disastrous dumpster fire and the tragic destruction that they have done to Star Trek. Bakish was named CEO in October of 2016, replacing Tom Dooley at the end of 2023. Paramount showed a total revenue of nearly $30 billion, but operating income, a key profitability metric, showed a loss of about $500 million, which means they did not make a profit. At the same time, the total debt of Hollywood studio and entertainment companies stood at roughly $16 billion, which is a significant amount of money for an enterprise of its comparably meager valuation, because obviously this is not on the same level as the Walt Disney Company. This isn't even really on the same level as like HBO, or not HBO, but Warner Brothers Discovery now either. Like, Paramount is one of the smaller people in the whole outfit of Hollywood out there. So numbers like these make a significant difference to them. So Sherry Redstone's Natural Amusement currently holds about 77% of the voting power over Para, and she has been seeking a deal with David Ellison, the CEO of Skydance. Rumors have circulated that Skydance would pay National Amusement some $2 billion in cash, while other shareholders of Para would be left with naught but stock in compensation and no guarantee of future performance. Not a good deal at all. The deadline for that deal is Friday, May 3rd. However, rumor also has it that Skydance is seeking a 2-week extension of that deadline. Should that deal fall through or the period of exclusivity ends without a final offer, other players like Apollo Global Management will have an open window to step in. It's also been reported by the Wall Street Trades that Apollo may be coming in with the backing of Sony Pictures and a whopping $26 billion all-cash offer. Holy cow. But honestly, considering how the Sony Spider-Verse nonsense has been going, is that really who we want to buy? Star Trek? I don't think so, boys and girls. I don't think so. We'll see what happens. However, this is as of yet confirmed, so strictly rumor right now. But obviously, they're not going to officially announce something like that in a time where they know it's not going to do them any good because, hey, the people are offering this much money. Well, maybe you'll offer a little bit more. Maybe we'll have to hold out for a little bit cushier of a pay deal. No. That's not how this works. This alone is making CEO Bob Bakish's tenure rocky to say the least, as it's no secret that he and Redstone have been at odds over management at Paramount for some time. This is not unlike the Michael Eisner situation some 20 years ago that saw the former Walt Disney Company CEO ousted in favor of an up-and-coming Bob Iger. The real issue is not right now that likely has Skydance looking to delay negotiation deadlines is the fact that Paramount has yet to settle a new carriage deal with Charter and Spectrum to continue the broadcast of CBS and the family of other linear channels under the Paramount banner. Failure to come to terms would have a significant negative impact on the overall valuation of Paramount. The deadline for that deal is tomorrow, Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. Ooh, that could be bad. Can you imagine CBS not being on broadcast television? CBS not being on cable, right? Like if you're not strictly like me where you do nothing, you just do watch all of your television through the internet now. Like if you're still somebody holding on to cable, can you imagine CBS being gone? That is so weird to even think about. As it stands right now, both Redstone and the board of directors Paramount look to be taking a vote of no confidence in CEO Bob Bakish, who CNBC reports will not be on the earnings call today at 4:30 Eastern, seemingly to signal definitively that the 8-year CEO of the vaunted Hollywood studio and broadcaster is indeed out. It has also been reported by the Wall Street Journal, Variety, and others that the board may name a team of executives from Paramount to serve as interim CEO. And of course, stay tuned to Valiant Renegade. He'll be covering all of that this afternoon. So if I get this video out in time, you guys will be able to go over and watch his stuff. If not, just understand that he's gone. He's toast. He's out. And the worst part is there's been so much damage done to the Star Trek franchise. There's been so much damage done to so many Paramount franchises out there. I mean, we've seen, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, anybody? Like, holy cow, look at the disastrous dumpster fire that all of that stuff is. Like, it's bad. It's ridiculous, and it's a miserable failure. And guess what? At the end of the day, Bob, the buck stops with you. Whether or not you were fighting with Red Sherry, and you guys were not being, she was pushing you to do this kind of stuff, and maybe you just didn't agree with it. I don't know. Maybe you were all on board with this stuff, and maybe she didn't agree with it. I don't know. Maybe you butted heads over things that are completely and totally different, and you were completely, totally on board with all the woke nonsense. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. You're the leader of a company. It's your job to make sure that the fans, the audiences, and the customers are happy. And at the end of the day, if you don't do that, your company's going to fail miserably. And that's exactly what we've seen with Paramount. We've seen the death of Star Trek. We've seen the death of a lot of modern Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as far as the animation is concerned. And it's just one more thing that added to the fact that Bob Bakish is now going to be gone. Am I saying this is going to make anything better for Star Trek or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or anything else Paramount holds on to? No, because I don't trust Hollywood. If Sony ends up buying them, it's not going to be any better than any of the rest of them out there. We've seen the disastrous dumpster fires that Sony's put out there. So either way, it's one more CEO down in an otherwise completely and totally contracting Hollywood. This is what happens. Eventually, you run out of other people's money, and now the bill is coming due. Sorry, Bob, but it looks like you're going to pass. It looks like you're going to pay for it. If only we could get another Bob to pay for it.